गिरिवरधारी
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यमुनातीरावनचारी
यमुनातीरावनचारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
गोपी जन वल्लभ गिरिवरधारी
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यशोदानंदन व्रज जन रंजन
यमुनातीरावनचारी
यमुनातीरावनचारी
जय राधा माधव कुंज बिहारी
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 जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिचार्य श्रोत श्रीमदे भक्तिवेदांत स्वामी श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। इस्कॉन फाउंडर आचार्य बीबीटी फाउंडर श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय। जय विष्णुपाद परमहंस परिचार्य श्रोत श्रीमद भक्ति सिद्धांत ठाकुर श्रील प्रभुपाद की अनंत कोटि वैष्णव वृंद की नामाचार्य श्रीदास ठाकुर की प्रेम से कहो श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत दादर शिवसति गौर भक्त वृंद की जय। श्री राधा कृष्ण गोप गोपीनाथ श्याम कुंड राधा कुंड गिरि गोवर्धन की जय। वृंदावन धाम की मायपुर धाम की जगन्नाथपुरी धाम की गंगा माई की यमुना माई की भक्ति देवी की तुलसी महारानी की संवेद गौर भक्त वृंद की ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees हरे कृष्णा ऑल ग्लोरीज टू assembled devotees ऑल ग्लोरीज टू श्री गुरु एंड गौरांग। ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय ओम नमो भगवते वासुदेवाय नारायणं नमस्कृत्य नरं चैव नरोत्तमं देवीं सरस्वतीं व्यासं ततो जयमुदीरयेत्। नष्टप्रायेषु भद्रेषु नित्यं भागवत सेवया भगवत्युत्तमश्लोके भक्ति भवति नैष्टिकी। ओम ज्ञानतिमिरन्धस्य ज्ञानाञ्जनशलाकया चक्षुरुन्मिलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। श्रीचैतन्यमनोभीष्टं स्थापितं येन भूतले स्वयं रूप कदा मह्यं ददाति स्वपदान्तिकं। वन्देऽहं श्रीगुरौ श्रीयुतापदकमलं श्रीगुरून् वैष्णवांश्च श्रीरूपं साग्रजातं सहगना रघुनाथान्वितं तं सजीवं साद्वैतं सावधूतं परिजनसहितं कृष्णचैतन्यदेवं श्री राधा कृष्ण पादान् सहगना ललिता श्री विशाखान्वितांश्च नमः ओम विष्णुपदाय कृष्णप्रेष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदांत स्वामिनिति नामिने नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषा शून्यवादी पाश्चात्य देशतारिणे नमो महावदन्याय कृष्ण प्रेम प्रदायते कृष्णाय कृष्ण चैतन्य नामने गौरत्विषे नमः। हे कृष्णा करुणा सिंधो दीनबंधो जगतपते गोपेश गोपिका कांत राधा कांत नमोस्तुते तप्त कांचन गौरांगी राधे वृंदावनेश्वरी वृषभानुसुते देवी प्रणमामि हरिप्रिये वाञ्छाकल्पतरुभ्यश्च कृपा सिन्धुभ्य एव च पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः। जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर शिवासादि गौर भक्तवृंद हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे। हरे कृष्णा। Okay, let's revise a few points from yesterday.
About battle, so like we are also fighting against with Maya, so we have to do our duty without attaching to result.
Okay, good point. Thank you.
You started with hearing, importance of hearing, qualities, what should be our motives for hearing.
Can you name a few?
Submission hearing, submissive, sincerity, that is without ulterior motive, and with inquisitiveness, eagerness, enthusiasm. These were the topics discussed.
From the right source.
Right source. Coming in parampara.
Correct. Good. Thank you. Something else? Pranav.
We also discussed about the saffron dust particle, that the sound vibration which is saturated with the mercy of the Lord, because that devotee has surrendered his life. So he receives the mercy of the Lord, and that's what comes out of his mouth. That is called a saffron dust particle.
Right. So then what happens?
Then whoever hears it, whoever gets to, his heart is, gets transformed very naturally.
Right. When that sound vibration enters through the ears into the heart, then it awakens the sleeping living entities.
To hear or read means to associate with the consciousness of the person. So we have to be very careful, and we have to be sincere in hearing. Or sincerity means, you said sincerity and anxious. So both they are different. Sincerity means you are punctual or without
no ulterior motive.
Without ulterior motive. And anxious means eager to hear and
right. Thank you.
This king is addressed here as a foolish king. So he said,
Manda.
So he was like, we had a discussion about what makes us this proud and how to remain grounded. So discuss about menial service, Dambam Mahadupasaya, and other things.
Okay, good. Fine. Huh? Bodo?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji, Dhanavad Pranam.
Hare Krishna.
And one more point was that how to give up revengeful attitude by forgiving and forgetting.
Right.
And one should not become one's enemy's enemy.
Yes. How will that be possible? One should not become enemy's enemy.
How he gave example of Prabhupada towards Chatterjee.
That's a good example. But how to develop that attitude?
By understanding that everyone is, after all, connected to Krishna. And if we develop attitude of enemies, becoming enemy's enemy, it will rebound to us only, and our heart only will become disturbed. So it is in our own interest that not develop, because it is anyway not going to benefit us.
Okay. And also understanding that that person has become enemy because of my own past karma.
My own past. Yes.
Therefore, okay. Fine. And the last thing that we discussed was?
Conflict.
Yes, conflicts. So we had quite an elaborate discussion on conflicts. Causes, consequences, preventive measures, and solutions. And all of you came up with many wonderful points and examples. So just to conclude that discussion, so we'll just highlight a few points from Srila Prabhupada's purports, most of which most of you know, but still in the context of the discussion, we'd just like to highlight a few points. So we'll begin with, so you can show Prabhu. Fourth canto, 30th chapter, 8th verse. Famous verse. आज बाकी लोग कहाँ हैं? हाँ? अच्छा, his class. और बाकी? Hmm? 438. Fourth canto, 30th chapter, text 8. Correct. Let's recite. Shri Bhagavan Uvacha Varam Vrinidvam Bhadram Vo Yuyam Me Nripanandanaha Sauhardena Pritag Dharmas Tushtoham Saurudena Vaha. Okay, please read the translation, the purport.
The Supreme Personality of Godhead said, "My dear sons of King, I am very much pleased by the friendly relationships among you. All of you are engaged in one occupation, devotional service. I am so pleased with your mutual friendship that I wish you all good fortune. Now you may ask a benediction of me." Purport. Since the sons of King Prachini Bharishad were all united in Krishna consciousness, the Lord was very pleased with them. Each and every one of the sons of King Prachini Bharishad was an individual soul, but they were united in offering transcendental service to the Lord. The unity of the individual souls attempting to satisfy the Supreme Lord or rendering service to the Lord is the real unity. In material world, such unity is not possible. Even though people may officially unite, they all have different interests. In United Nations, for instance, all the nations have their particular national ambitions, and consequently, they cannot be united. Disunity between the individual souls is so strong within this material world that even in the society of Krishna consciousness, members sometimes appear disunited due to their having different opinions and leaning towards material things. Actually, in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be two opinions. There is only one goal: to serve Krishna to one's best ability. If there is some disagreement over service, such disagreement is to be taken as spiritual. Those who are actually engaged in the service of Supreme Personality of Godhead cannot be disunited in any circumstance. This makes the Supreme Personality of Godhead very happy and willing to award all kinds of benediction to his devotee, as indicated in this verse. We can see that the Lord is immediately prepared to award all benedictions to the sons of King Prachini Bharishad.
Okay, so two important statements here in the beginning. Each and every one of the sons of King Prachini Bharishad, individual soul. So individual souls means it's natural that there'll be different opinions, but they were united in offering transcendental service to the Lord. The unity of the individual souls attempting to satisfy the Supreme Lord or rendering service to the Lord is real unity. In the material world, such unity is not possible. And Srila Prabhupada gives the example of United Nations. We heard the lecture also other day. Prabhupada says so many times, simply assembly of barking dogs. Because even though they are sitting together, but they are all sitting with their own individual interests. So because interests are different, so therefore they cannot actually be united. So on the material platform, it's not possible to be united. So therefore, on the spiritual platform, it is possible because those who are actually engaged, okay, before that, actually in Krishna consciousness, there cannot be two opinions. Why? Now, isn't it a contrast? Previously, everyone is individual. There's bound to be individual opinion. But here he says, no, there cannot be two opinions. Why? Yes, because there's only one goal, to serve Krishna to one's best ability. Right? So therefore, when goal is one, then there can be real unity. So therefore, opinions could be different, but if the goal is one, to satisfy Guru and Krishna, then somebody has to sacrifice one's opinion, somebody will have to bend one's opinion, somebody will have to make some compromise, all that, so that ultimately there is unity and Krishna is pleased. Okay? So therefore, the ultimate goal is pleasing Krishna. If we stick to our own opinions, then we may have our way, but Krishna will be displeased. So which is more important, having our way or pleasing Krishna? So choice is ours. But if we are interested in pleasing Krishna, then we have to see the overall picture and see what will actually please Krishna. And as Srila Prabhupada said, that if we cooperate, that is what will please him. So this makes the Supreme Personality of Godhead very happy. Okay? So this is one important purport, how one can resolve conflicts. One can resolve conflicts by keeping the ultimate goal in picture, the ultimate goal of pleasing Krishna. Now, we'll go to the other conflict, that is Indra and Prithu Maharaj. Okay? So, an important point on how Brahmaji resolved that conflict. Of course, the main important thing there was Prithu Maharaj was very submissive. So as soon as Brahma came and said, stop, stop, there was no argument. Even though Prithu Maharaj was doing the right thing and Indra was doing the nonsense, but still Prithu Maharaj does not agree. Hey Brahma, why are you telling me? You tell this Indra, he's the mischief maker. Why are you telling me? He could have argued, no? But he didn't argue. Stop, stop, finished. But at the same time, Brahma also gave a whole philosophical explanation also. He didn't just give instruction. He gave a whole philosophical explanation as to why he should stop. So this is the 4th canto, 20th chapter. And we'll go to okay, this is correct. So this will read the 3rd verse. Of course, this Lord Vishnu is saying, right? Okay, but we can read this. Yes, 2nd and 3rd verse. We'll read the 2nd and the 3rd verse. Okay, and the third verse. Sudaya sadhavo loke naradeva narottama nabhidhruyanti bhutebhyo yarhi natma kalevaram.
O king, one who is advanced in intelligence and eager to perform welfare activities for others is considered best amongst human beings. An advanced a human being is never malicious to others. Those with advanced intelligence are always conscious that this material body is different from the soul. Purport. In daily life, we find that when a madman commits murder, he is excused even by a high court judge. The idea is that a living entity is always pure because he is part and parcel of Supreme Personal Godhead. When he falls into the clutches of material energy, he becomes a victim of three modes of material nature. Indeed, whatever he does under the influence of material nature. As stated in Bhagavad Gita, न कर्तत्वं न कर्माणि लोकस्य सृजति प्रभु न कर्म फल संयोगम स्वभावस्तु pravartate. The embodied spirit, master of city of his body, does not create activities, nor does he induce people to act, nor does he create the fruits of action. All this is enacted by the modes of material nature. Actually, the living entity or soul does not do anything. Everything is done under the influence of modes of material nature. When a man is deceased, the symptoms of disease become a source of all kinds of pain. Those who are advanced in transcendental consciousness or Krishna consciousness are never envious, neither of the soul nor of the activities of the soul under the influence of material nature. Advanced transcendentalists are called Sudhiya. Sudhi means intelligence. Sudhi means highly advanced, and Sudhi means devotee. One who is both devoted and highly advanced in intelligence does not take action against the soul or the body. If there is any discrepancy, or he forgives. It is said that forgiveness is a quality of those who are advancing in spiritual knowledge.
Yes, so this is another way of resolving conflicts. What? Forgiveness. So that's what Lord Vishnu is telling. See, Indra, he acted under the influence of three modes. That's what Prabhupada is beginning the purport with the madman. So a person under the influence of three modes is like a madman. Under the influence of three modes, he is doing nonsense. So, okay, madman, who's going to take madman very seriously? So that is the other way one can resolve conflicts. Prabhu, if you don't mind, you can please close the door. So that's what Prabhupada is writing. When a man is diseased, symptoms of disease become source of all kinds of pain, but those who are advanced are never envious. So that's another way to resolve conflicts. And therefore, in the next verse, he says, if a personality like you, who are so much advanced because of executing instructions of previous acharyas, is carried away by influence of my material energy, then all your advancement may be considered simply a waste of time. Okay, Indra understood. He is under the influence of three modes. He's like madman. But what about you? You are such an advanced person, and if you also get carried away by three modes, then what is the use? So, therefore, Lord Vishnu is saying, no, that's not correct. Okay, and let's see what's in the previous chapter. Okay, fine. So that's now. I'm looking for one important point. This is very important. Go to the previous chapter, 19th chapter, 34th verse. Or we can also read the 33rd. Yes, in the previous verse, that is in 32nd verse, Lord Brahma says, okay, be happy with 99, that's all. Okay. And then in 33rd, he says, Nevatmane Mahendraya Rosham Ahartum Arhasi Ubhavapi hi Badram te Uttama Shloka Vigraho. Lord Brahmakund, let there be good fortune to both of you, for you and King Indra are both part and parcel of Supreme Personality of God. So this is another philosophical way of seeing when there are conflicts. Okay, I am part and parcel of Krishna, he is also part and parcel of Krishna. So see the commonality between the two parties. Therefore, you should not be angry with King Indra, who is non-different from you. Okay, and 34th we will read. Very beautiful purports. Masmin Maharaja Krita Smachintam Nishamayasmad Vacha Adritatma Yadhyayato Devahatam Nukartum Mano Tirushtam Vishate Tamondam. Read translation and purport.
Hare Krishna. My dear king, do not be agitated and anxious because your sacrifices have not been properly executed due to providential impediments. Kindly take my words with great respect. We should always remember that if something happens by providential arrangement, we should not be very sorry. The more we try to rectify such reversals, the more we enter into the darkest region of materialistic thought. Purport. Sometimes a saintly or very religious person also has to meet with reversals in life. Such incidents should be taken as providential. Although there may be sufficient cause for being unhappy, one should avoid counteracting such reversals. For the more we become implicated in rectifying such reversals, the more we enter into the darkest regions of material anxiety. Lord Krishna has also advised us in this connection, we should tolerate things instead of becoming agitated.
Yes. So this is another way to resolve conflicts. Accepting things as providential. Things are not in our hands. Everything is not in our hands. Krishna has his own plans. We have no control over that. So therefore, instead of simply trying to rectify the reversals and causing so much of anxiety, tolerate. So there's some points we can think about, how to practically apply them in different situations that we have to work out. But these are some very important principles. Otherwise, if we think that, usually the problem is, we think that everything should go exactly according to how I plan. And so if somebody is working in a way that is opposing my plan, then immediately there's conflict. Of course, we can try to work out things, no problem. So, but then every time things may not work according to my plan. Sometimes I just have to accept. So if something is happening which is not in accordance to my plan, rather than always trying to make things work according to my plan, sometimes we just have to accept that, well, this time things are not going to work according to my plan. So then if one accepts that, Deva Hatam, this is all Deva. One accepts that, okay, one can be peaceful. One will not become Atirushtam. One will not become excessively angry. If one becomes excessively angry, then what happens? Vishate Tama Andam. Then that is the result of the anger. Then after the anger, then so many other symptoms also will come out. So then that will be the cause of this Tamo Andam. So therefore, sometimes we just have to accept. So these are some important points. Okay. And the other conflict was between the two parties regarding Ashwatthama. So how that conflict was resolved? Madhusapur? And how did Arjuna satisfy both? So who gave him that intelligence? Yes. So Krishna gave him the intelligence to satisfy both the parties appropriately. So therefore, in order to take the right decisions in such situations, the inspiration from Paramatma is very important. And therefore, to be in touch with the Paramatma by our good sadhana practices is very important. So if we have good sadhana practices and we are purifying ourselves, then we can get the right inspiration from the Paramatma so that we can take the right decisions.
To know that this is a providence and this is not the providence. Like Dhruv Maharaj, when his brother was killed, he killed yakshas. So then he's also killing the higher beings. And here Indra is there. So Prithu Maharaj, so here Brahmaji is clarifying it's a providence. You should adjust with that. But there Dhruv Maharaj even tried to fight with the yakshas who are higher beings, who are not from earthly planet. So I'm asking this way, then how to know this thing? What is providence, what is not?
So that's why that Dhruva Maharaj's killing of the yakshas was not approved, no? Yes, yeah. So then Swayambhu Manu came and said, stop, enough. One person killed, why you're killing the whole clan? He was killing, but then Swayambhu Manu, therefore he came and stopped him, no?
It is said that he should not have killed many, but some say he should have killed, like that.
So one person killed, one yaksha killed. So for one yaksha, why you're killing so many? That was the argument Swayambhu Manu gave. So therefore he stopped him, no? There also Swayambhu Manu gives a lot of big philosophical explanation there also, Swayambhu Manu gives. Right. Okay, now we will, to conclude the discussion, you have this Bhakti Tirth Maharaj's book there? Spiritual Warrior. It's there in the Vedas. 3. So this is in Books by ISKCON Devotees. Books by ISKCON Devotees. Yes. That's the second one. So this is, you got it? Books by, go down. See that. नहीं, गीता नगरी प्रेस नहीं. अरे यहाँ पर नहीं है. यहाँ पर नहीं है. So, there's Harinam Press, Bhakti Tirth Swami. नहीं है. है? Okay. So this is Spiritual Warrior 3, Solace for the Heart in Difficult Times. And the last topic under that, Serving the World Community. Or you want to connect it to this? Or I'm just going to read a few statements from here. क्या है? Okay, this is 3, no? See, under that there are various chapters. No, go to the last chapter. Okay. So, okay, so under that, there is a subheading, creating community. Go a little down. Yet a sense of community, yet a sense of... Thoda niche jao. Yet a sense of community. Read from there.
Yet a sense of community only emerges as a result of honest communication, cooperation, and fellowship.
Okay, so honest communication, cooperation, and fellowship. Fellowship, brotherhood, we are all fellows.
Fellow word, that's a fact of it. Fellowship is a positive word.
It's like, what do you say?
Camaraderie.
Yes, correct.
Friendship is old English.
Old English, okay. Okay, fine, go ahead.
Community with nothing to communicate is simply an artificial grouping without life. When a community has genuine vitality, the members have something to communicate and share with each other. Each member is straightforward, while at the same time being sensitive to the feelings of others.
Each member is straightforward, while at the same time being sensitive to the feelings of others.
Real community is never exclusive. When the nucleus of a community is strong, it becomes flexible enough to balance, adjust, expand, and include the new.
So this is all cooperation, balance, adjust, expand.
Real community is never exclusive or ambiguous. A community truly based in spirituality is always ready to inspire everyone to realize that God is there for them.
Okay, so now 4 principles of community building.
In most ordinary communities, people mechanically go about their business, tolerating the trials of daily life while suffering underlying feelings of anxiety. Yet, as spiritual warriors, we do not want ordinary communities. We want vital, living environments in which people can thrive. As we have seen, this can occur when we elevate our individual consciousness, which in turn boosts the community atmosphere and uplift the environment.
That's a very important point. This can occur when we elevate our individual consciousness. Because the community is made up of individuals. So every individual has to elevate his consciousness. Then the whole community will improve. So many times the problem is everyone thinks that everyone else should improve. So when everyone thinks that everyone else should improve, what will happen? Nobody improves. Because each one is thinking others should improve. The other person is thinking he should improve. He thinks he should improve. Then who will improve? Nobody improves. So therefore, on the other hand, when each one thinks I should improve, then what will happen? Then everyone will improve. So therefore, what is most important is to elevate individual consciousness. And the consciousness can be elevated by the proper sadhana practices, by trying to develop the good qualities. So this is all an individual responsibility. So then the entire community's atmosphere will be boosted up. Go ahead.
The success of a community is based on what the individuals bring into the environment.
Yes.
Remember the spiritual warriors checklist from chapter 7. First, sense control and mastery of the mind. Second, humility. Third, fearlessness. Fourth, truthfulness. Fifth, compassion and pridelessness. Sixth, material exhaustion and disinterest in material rewards. Seventh, no idle time. Eighth, patience and selflessness. Ninth, firm faith. 10th, perseverance. 11th, curiosity and enthusiasm to learn and grow. 12th, surrender to divine will. We are going to give you another set of 4 important tools, which in combination with the spiritual warriors checklist are sufficient to raise individual and collective consciousness. Connect community members with the divine power and provide solace as we face the challenges of becoming transcendental. Reflect on these tools as a daily meditation and make the choice to shift your consciousness.
Daily meditation and make the choice to shift your consciousness. So it is whose choice?
Ours.
Yes, individual choice. Every individual has to make the choice to shift the consciousness. Okay.
First, treat everyone you encounter as if the success of your spiritual life depends upon the quality of your interactions with them. Second, reflect upon the person you love the most and aspire to treat everyone with that same quality of love. Third, view all conflicts as your own fault first. Fourth, realize that people in your present environment might very well be the people with whom you will live out your life and who will be with you at the time of death. The first two technologies are closely related. If we recognize the spiritual significance of each encounter and offer every person the same quality of love that we direct towards our most beloved, our interactions are bound to be positive and uplifting. We will immediately experience an elevation of consciousness because others will feel, consciously or unconsciously, that we truly care for them. We are not simply tolerating them or having a business exchange with them. This positive energy will rebound and return to us. The first two technologies are not always easy. Indeed, they are often extremely difficult. Other people sometimes treat us unkindly or abusively. Yet, we should persist in treating them as if our spiritual life or even our physical life were hanging in the balance and depended upon our behavior.
Okay, so this is an important point. Other people may treat us unkindly. But as we were discussing yesterday also, the Vaishnav does not follow the policy of tit for tat. So even though others may not treat us properly, but we should persist in treating them as if our spiritual life is dependent on our behavior. Okay, so the focus always has to be on how I can improve. That has to be the constant focus. Because we don't have much control over others, isn't it? But what we definitely have control over is my own behavior. Okay.
God has arranged for the associations that we have. People are in our lives and pass through our lives for a reason.
That means somebody has been appointed to purify us. What to do? Accept it.
Spiritual warriors look for the lessons to be learned and take advantage of the associations, whether the other person does or not. When we treat each person wholeheartedly in this way, we will quickly recognize that God is everywhere and in every person. Most parents are patient and forgiving towards their children. Imagine how powerful that type of loving care could be when directed towards a co-worker, a next door neighbor, or a stranger on the highway.
Okay, so he's saying that just like a father or mother would treat a child very lovingly, the child does mistakes, but still the parents forgive and they treat very kindly. So similarly, if we see every other person around us in the same way as parents treat children with love and care, then we will not take their mistakes or misunderstandings very seriously, but we'll be in a more we'll be more ready to forgive and forget and all that. So then he's giving the example of traffic and drivers and that example he's giving. But okay, let's go to this more specific topic of our discussion, the third technology. What's that?
This thing by me, whatever we are reading now, is very valuable. Other thing that
Okay, so maybe they want cut, paste, and send.
if it is possible. That's what other thing
If you can do, you can do. Okay, let's read this third technology.
third technology is to view any problem in a relationship as our own fault first. Whatever the issue may be, as long as we consider the difficulty to be caused by another person's behavior, another person's wrongdoing, we are closed to put our own contribution to change and healing. All we do by engaging in blame is to intensify the conflict. We help neither the other person nor ourselves. But if we see the problem as our fault, the consequence of our saying something that was misunderstood or of not offering proper assistance or of failing
in some way.
Where it is feeling some difficult for me to or failing in some way we are not even aware of, then we can move beyond material consciousness to a higher level.
Okay, so here he's saying that as long as we get into the blame game and we keep pointing out the fault, he's the cause, he's the cause, he's the cause, then nobody benefits by that consciousness. Neither the other person benefits, nor I benefit. Only thing that the result of such a blame game will be what? It simply intensifies the conflict. But if we see the problem as our fault, that I have done something wrong, maybe I should not have said this, then if we are in that mood, then what happens? Then I am elevating my own consciousness. I am elevating my own consciousness. And when I elevate my own consciousness, that affects the consciousness of the other person. And there is a classic example of this in the Bhagavatam.
Positive one.
Yes.
This was what we were discussing just now before. The way, that also what he said.
Jad Bharat and Rauguna.
No, he's saying that one is the best one.
Which one?
Amrish and Durvasa.
Okay, Ambarish and Durvasa, that's also a good example. Okay. Parishit Maharajan? Of course, Shringi doesn't change, na? Chitraketu Maharaj and Mother Parvati. Of course, Parvati, there's no change in Parvati. Maybe a little bit. But one classic example is Indra and Diti. Indra and Diti. You know that pastime? 6th canto? So when Indra had come to kill the child because he thought that this child will be the cause of killing him. And so then he came to kill, but then Diti was performing this vrata. Which vrata? Pumsavan vrata. And Indra was very nicely serving her for what? To find a fault. The purpose was to find a fault. The purpose was not to serve. The purpose was to find a fault. But he was doing the service very nicely so that Diti does not get doubt. And then we know, as soon as she ate something, she didn't wash, then he entered, cut the womb into 49, the 49 Maruts were born, all that happened. And then after that, then Indra, then Diti is surprised. How these 49, only one son was supposed to be born, how 49? And they're all very friendly with Indra. What happened? So at that time, Indra, first of all, he admits that I came to serve you only to kill your child. He became honest. He admitted his fault. When he admitted his fault, she also admitted her fault. That she was doing this vrata only to get a son to kill him. So that's how when he admitted his fault, his consciousness was elevated and her consciousness was elevated. So this is a classic example of what is being spoken here. That when we see the problem as our fault, then the consciousness is raised to a higher level. We can move beyond material consciousness to a higher level. Go ahead. Please go ahead.
It is
Correct. Yes.
black. Yeah. It is from there, no?
It is at this.
It is at this higher level that conflicts gets resolved. And at the very least, we have established a good starting point for trying to reach a harmonious outcome.
Yes. So the basic thing is to raise the level of consciousness. On the other hand, if we pull our consciousness down, now by blaspheming, criticizing, and all those negative emotions and negative things, if we do, we bring our consciousness down and we inspire the negativity in the other person. Seeing my negative behavior influenced by modes of rajas and tamas, what will happen to the other person? He'll also be affected by that. On the other hand, if I raise my consciousness and I don't act in negative ways, there's a good possibility that the other person's consciousness also can change. So, this is also good. Read.
We are in a wartime situation and do not have time for personality problems. Personality is simply something which we picked up this lifetime based on some
Occultation.
Occultation.
What is the exact meaning? Occultation.
Occultation. Dictionary. Someone. And it is something that
yes, it is something that we will change.
Change in this lifetime or lose in another. Personality is simply some stuff you have picked up. So drop it if it is unhealthy. We do not have the time to be stagnated or slowed down because of someone looked at us in a certain way, said something rude, ignored us, or did not understand us sufficiently.
So, culture, okay. Culture. Personality is something we picked up this based on some, a culture, some culture from the previous life.
Acculturation is the process of cultural change that occurs when two or more cultures come into contact.
Okay, so it's basically based upon influence of other people and all that. Yes. Okay, remember?
Remember to not see conflict as something negative.
This is a good point.
But as an outgrowth of the diversity that characterizes our thoughts, attitudes, beliefs, social systems, and structures. Most importantly, we should see it as a time to grow and learn how to serve each other.
Yes.
Better.
So rather than seeing the conflict, this point is told in the conflict resolution seminar also, that don't see the conflict as something negative. See it as something, as an opportunity to learn and grow. Rather than always thinking, oh, this person is like this, what is... So rather than seeing it see it in a positive way, see what we can learn from the situation.
Conflict requires at least two people to have life, and therefore it only takes one individual to be strong enough to create healing instead of conflict.
Right. So two people have to be there for the conflict. So if one person takes a positive stand, then the conflict is finished.
If we have enough concern for others, we can find the strength to help and to look beyond our own ego. We must realize that the quality of our life is dependent on how we serve others. This is the position of very advanced souls.
Right. So that is the key to the whole thing, actually. So if we are always in that mood, how we can serve others, the service attitude. In this situation, how can I serve the other person? So if we have that right consciousness, then our entire perception will change. If we are in that service mode, how can I serve? Go ahead.
even if someone offends an advanced soul, even if someone offends an advanced soul, the more advanced soul takes the humble position in always assessing God consciousness, humility, and devotion.
So even if someone offends, the more advanced soul takes the humble position in always accessing
God consciousness.
Access God consciousness, humility, devotion. So one is always thinking, how can I access the Lord's mercy? How can I act in the right way? So therefore, the constant consciousness has to be in a mode of self-improvement. How can I improve? How can I grow? That has to be the constant mood.
They have loving feelings even towards the greatest enemies. This is a transcendental consciousness, not mental consciousness, or not mixed devotional consciousness. They relate to the God presence in each person, and in this way they experience God consciousness everywhere and in everyone.
So even in this Prithu Maharaj Indra conflict, in one of the purports, Srila Prabhupada actually quotes the well-known English saying, hate the sin, not the sinner. So if we are in that mood, then we will see how we can best serve the other person. Okay, we'll just read one more paragraph and end the discussion.
The fourth principle, the fourth spiritual technology is to associate with people in our environments in the mood that we are sharing our lives with them. And they may be the people who are there for us, even for us when we die. We must truly attempt to understand this idea, which is not just a theoretical proposition. God has arranged all our relationships, and it is up to us to use them for our greater spiritual good. Our consciousness is deeply affected by the company we keep and the environment in which we immerse ourselves. If we live with others, we must make every effort to enhance our associations with them to create an uplifting atmosphere.
Just one more paragraph that completes that section.
The nature of our consciousness at the time of death determines our next existence. If our consciousness is proper, we will enter directly into the spiritual kingdom. If not, we may become
distraught
as we recognize the missed opportunities caused by our lack of commitment. That is why the quality of our association with others is so important. Those with whom we spend our lives can help us use this precious human form wisely, and we can do the same for them, so that at death we will be spiritually prepared.
Yes, so ultimately the consciousness at the time of death is going to lead us to the next body. So therefore, every one of us should try to raise our own consciousness and help others also raise their consciousness to a more spiritual consciousness, more Krishna consciousness. So if we are always in that mood, then we can actually help each other and serve each other. And there's another, maybe we'll just touch upon this, a few statements. You leave one section, okay, you closed it. If you closed it, it's fine, it's fine. So after one section, there's cooperation and community. There's one subsection. So there he says, cooperation can occur in communities in different ways and different forms. For example, cooperation can be vertical. The same thing.
Prabhu, which book is this and how can we have it?
This is in Veda base, it is there. And of course, hard copy books are also available. Spiritual Warrior by Bhakti Swami.
Thank you.
Niche. So he talks about vertical cooperation, horizontal cooperation. So the idea of simply serving a superior, boss, manager, elder, mentor, or guru is vertical. All too often, when community members have reverence for the people in authority, they have little time for anyone else. Real cooperation must go beyond the vertical level to include the horizontal level as well. And what is horizontal cooperation is even more important than vertical, because the way we relate to our peers demonstrates our true level of evolution. Our pattern of dealing vertically with authority represents only one aspect of ourselves, one that is often a facade anyway. Our true selves show in the horizontal direction because we have to make genuine connections with people. This is not always easy. Actually, the more we succeed in relating closely to our peers, the more powerful our vertical connection becomes, because we purify ourselves in the process. Okay, so if we are trying to relate properly with our equals, our peers, other devotees, then that purifies us. And then when the purification is there, then we'll be able to relate with our seniors also in the proper way. So he says, a community gains its strength from the quality of its relationships. Okay, fine. We'll end this discussion here. The rest you can read on your own. Okay, but this statement is good. We must treat whatever God has given us with reverence and learn how to use it properly rather than abusing it. Okay. And then he talks about addressing conflicts in community. But the essence of all this is, he talks about the consciousness. The consciousness has to be improved. Positive community environment. Okay, fine. So let's get back to the Bhagavatam. Yes. Please pass on the mic.
On this topic of conflict resolution, there's just no observation you can add to it. At least this is how I look at it. Eventually boils down to what mode of consciousness the person is carrying. Such kind of discussion, if person is primarily in passion ignorance, may find fascinating, but when it comes into action, practicality, such kind of good thoughts don't come at that point of time.
Say that again, please.
Such kind of good thoughts, what we're reading now, does not come at that point of time. We may find it fascinating when we're reading or discussing it.
Correct.
So when we're talking about all this thing, I believe something where we need to highlight for such individuals which are struggling with conflicts, or they often end up in conflict or run into insecurity. Maybe we need to evaluate our mode of goodness.
Correct.
Where are we?
Correct.
If no mode of goodness, we are getting into envy or insecurity.
Correct. That's true. That's true. So yes, so therefore the constant endeavor definitely has to be to increase the level of mode of goodness. That should be the result of a practice of devotional service, isn't it? Tadarajastamo bhava kamano vadashe. So that should be the result. The mode of goodness should increase as we are progressing in our devotional service. And in that context, an important point from the 14th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, text 10. So that was, Krishna is talking about how there is always a conflict between the modes. Talking about conflicts. There's even conflicts between the modes for supremacy, competition. So the point is that as soon as the mode of goodness reduces, passion and ignorance are just waiting to take over. And so therefore, to maintain the mode of goodness, as Srila Prabhupada explains in that purport, two things are required. What? Okay, attachment and aversions. In that purport, Srila Prabhupada talks about two things: determination and practice. This is what is required. So it requires a constant, determined effort to be in goodness. Otherwise, the moment the goodness reduces, passion and ignorance are just waiting to take over. So that's the constant endeavor that we need to make. And that's how we can raise the mode of goodness. And that will definitely solve a good number of problems. That's true. Okay, fine.
When Bhakti Tirth Maharaj is saying these points, so in any institution or in any community, there is a different roles of the people. So Maharaj is talking from the role of which person? Like one person in any institute, one person is on the ground, he's dealing with the people. And one person is a leader, He's simply listening the conflict. And then he's solving from the mode of goodness perspective. So I'm asking, he wants a person to take which role? So just like he's saying, you have to treat every person similar way as you are treating the most beloved person. Now this thought process cannot be dealt by a person who is on ground level.
Why not?
It's not possible, because he knows that who is helping me, I will give him this much task. Who is not helping, I will give this much task.
Okay.
So see, even though he has the Samanta, but how he deals with the people in the world, it will be different.
That is fine. That is all fine. Okay, you can give services according to propensities, according to natures, all that is fine. But the underlying principle is that I'm trying to serve everyone and help everyone. That is the principle. How we serve may vary. How we serve may vary in accordance to that person's nature and all that. But the underlying principle is that I'm trying to serve everyone and I'm trying to help everyone. That should be the mode. If that is the mode, then I'll deal with everyone accordingly.
This I understood what you said. But when it is said you have to deal with every person, you are loving the most person, that much intensity you have to deal with the others. How is it possible, I'm asking?
So of course, that is what is ideal and what is expected. So a very advanced devotee who sees everyone on the platform of spirit soul as part and parcel of the Supreme Lord, then he'll be able to do that. But that is definitely a very high elevated platform.
So then that person
So that is Uttamadhikari platform. But I may not be, that is definitely very rare and it will take a lot of time also. But at least as an austerity, I can try to be in a mood of service. I may not have love. Love is on a very high platform, but at least I can be in a mood of service and trying to help the other person. At least that much I can try. As a matter of duty, may not be love, but at least as a matter of duty. Taken? That's matters. Okay, fine. Let's proceed to...
Because many times we discuss about consciousness, but we hardly discuss about the duties and responsibilities. Like you said that everybody should be thinking about raising one's own consciousness. But my question is, unless one person knows his duty first properly, how he will be cultured first person? Pehle cultured to hona chahiye usko. And then raising consciousness comes later. First, he has to be dedicated towards the God and his duties first. So people, like one person is doing wrong thing, and then we say that you raise your consciousness. And first, he should be told what is the duty first.
So both go together, no?
Yes. So like Krishna says in Karmanyavadikaraste, so the first part, if one learns the duties, he will be cultured person, he will be simple living person. When he gives up the result to God, don't become attached to the result, then he will become God conscious. So there are two things in the perspective in the life. One thing is to do the duty properly. First, know the duty. Be responsible.
So there are two types of duties. There are conditional duties and constitutional duties.
Yeah.
So both the duties are important.
Yes.
So the constitutional duties help to purify us, and the conditional duties also help to purify us.
Correct.
So both of them have to be done simultaneously. None of them is exclusive. We are not talking about exclusively doing only constitutional duties. So in the conditioned state, one has to do both. So therefore, both have to be done. So if I am in the right frame of mind and the right consciousness, then I can do my conditional duties in the right consciousness. When I do those duties in the right consciousness, that will attract mercy, by which I can do my constitutional duties also properly.
Correct.
Both of them are very much interlinked.
Yes, correct.
So therefore, we are taught both. So Srila Prabhupada therefore gave us a balanced program. He gave us a program of raising our consciousness by the appropriate sadhana program. And then we also have other duties to perform in the mission. So we are told to do both. But then both are important and both have to be done in the proper consciousness. So therefore both are needed. It's not...
Society leaders should see both the things.
Exactly. Both have to be done. Yes, that is correct. That's what Srila Prabhupada has given us. He has given us a balanced program of both. Okay, fine. Coming to Canto 10, Chapter 77. What? What is the program? Morning program, evening program of exclusive sadhana throughout the day services.
Yes. So
when it comes to morning program, the training and education part, Bhagavatam class, major and evening. So there, I'm coming back to the yesterday's question. My duty. Here we are talking about. So when something inappropriate is spoken.
You can definitely go and report to the concerned authorities.
He will be not there.
Still, you can report now. He may or may not be there. You can still report. No problem.
Whether it is correct or not also is not.
No. The reporting is not problem. You can always report. Not a problem. Okay. We'll discuss that later.
How communication happens? Like yesterday, we had example.
Yes.
Who asked and you clarified.
So we can.
Message is given, then it gives pain, dissatisfaction.
Correct. So we can definitely discuss with the concerned authorities. That's not wrong. In a mode of service, we can go and discuss. Okay, let's go to chapter 77. We have moved away from the action on the battlefields. Yes. So we have drifted quite a bit away from the storyline. And so just to bring in focus the story, everyone knows the story that's going on? So basically, Pradyumna is ready to fight. He's fighting with Shalva, and as he's fighting with Shalva, one of the commander-in-chiefs of Shalva's army, he takes a club and hits it on Pradyumna's chest. He falls unconscious, and so therefore the charioteer, who was the charioteer? Yes, Daruk's son. So Daruk's son, he thought, oh, my duty is to protect the warrior. So therefore he takes Pradyumna away from the battlefield, and then after some time, in a moment it said, Muhurta, he comes back to consciousness and he sees that he's outside the battlefield, and Pradyumna chastises the charioteer. What have you done? What will happen to our reputation? All my sisters-in-law will make fun of me. This has never happened in the family of the Yadus. So he chastises, he calls him a eunuch. So quite heavy chastisement. And the charioteer says, sir, this was my duty. As a charioteer, if the warrior is injured, it's my duty to protect him. So therefore I took you away. Okay, so that's how we started the whole discussion on conflict resolution. Okay, so now we go ahead with the story. Now what happens? Fortunately, they didn't go on fighting. I mean, between the two of them, the charioteer and Pradyumna, they don't go on fighting and forget the actual war. So that's also a good lesson. If we get involved with infighting, then what will happen? We'll forget the actual fight. Which is the actual fight? Against Maya. The actual fight against Maya we'll forget, and we will lose that fight. And we will keep fighting amongst ourselves. So they were more intelligent. So they didn't fight amongst themselves. They gave up that fight, who is correct, who is wrong. And now Pradyumna rises to fight with Shalva. Okay, fine. 77th chapter, first verse. Shri Shuka uvacha sa upasprishya salilam damshito dhritakarmuka nayamam dyumata prashvam virasyetyaha sarathim. Shukdev Goswami said, after refreshing himself with water, putting on his armor and picking up his bow, Lord Pradyumna told his driver, take me back to where the hero Dyuman is standing. Purport. Pradyumna was eager to rectify the discrepancy of his having left the battlefield when his chariot driver carried him away unconscious. So see, Pradyumna didn't get into that infighting. Rather, he is more eager to perform his duty on the battlefield, to rectify the discrepancy. So, okay, some discrepancy was there, but now what is more important is to rectify the discrepancy. So sometimes we simply tend to get into discussion and brooding over the past. So rather than brooding over the past, better is to do something positive. and see how we can go ahead. Of course, we have to learn from our mistakes, but we have to go ahead. Okay, fine. So now please continue to read from the next verse.
In Pradyumna's absence, Dyuman had been devastating his army. But now Pradyumna counterattacked Dyuman and said, smiling, pierced him with 8 Naracha arrows.
Purport?
Srila Vishnu Chakravarti comments that Pradyumna challenged Dyuman, saying, now see if you can strike me. After saying this and allowing Dyuman to shoot his weapons, Pradyumna released his own deadly arrows.
Continue, please.
Text number 3. With 4 of these arrows, he struck Dyuman's 4 horses. With 1 arrow, his driver. With 2 more arrows, his bow and chariot flag. And with his last arrow, Dyuman's head. This verse describes how he dispensed the 8 arrows.
Continue.
Gada, Satyaki, Shamba, and others began killing Salva's army. And thus all the soldiers inside the airship began falling into the ocean, their necks seaward. As
Go ahead.
As the Yadus and Salva's followers thus went on attacking one another, the tumultuous, fearsome battle continued for 27 days and nights.
27 days and nights they were fighting. Just imagine, even at night they were fighting. Okay, continue.
Invited by Yudhishthira, the son of Dharma, Lord Krishna had gone to Indraprastha. Now that the Rajasuya Yajna had been completed and Shishupal killed, the Lord began to see inauspicious omens. So he took leave of the Kuru elders and the great sages and also Pratha and her sons and returned to Dwarka.
Okay, so Krishna had gone for the Rajasuya sacrifice. Now that's over. And now he's seeing some inauspicious signs. Okay, you can pass on. Samarpan Gopal, continue reading.
The Lord said to himself, because I have come here with my respected elder brother, kings partial to Shishupal may well be attacking my capital city.
Okay, so Vishwanath Thakur in his commentary says, this verse expresses Krishna's thoughts. I have come here with Balaram, Arya Mishra. So Arya means my elder brother Balaram, and Mishra means the distinguished personality. Abhisangata. So he says, I've come here with Balaram, and this, however, is not the opinion of Shukadev, but someone else, as Shukadev explains in verse 30. Okay, so anyway, that point will come later on. We'll go ahead. Okay, 9th verse.
Sukdev Goswami continued. After he arrived at Dwarka and saw how his people were threatened with destruction, and also saw Shalva and his Saubha airship, Lord Keshava arranged for the city's defense and then addressed Daruka as follows.
Lord Krishna placed Sri Balram in a strategic position to guard the city, and he also appointed a special guard for Sri Rukmini and the other queens inside the palaces. According to Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti, by a secret route, special soldiers conveyed the queens to safety inside Dwarka. Verse 10.
Yes, so that's what Krishna, as soon as he came there and he saw Shalva, he saw his airship. And so first thing he thought of was protecting the residents of Dwarka, especially the queens. And so therefore they were shifted to some inner chambers through some secret route. And then Krishna is going to fight now. Okay, go ahead. 10th verse.
Lord Krishna said, O driver, quickly take my chariot near Shalva. The Lord of Saubha is powerful magician. Do not let him bewilder you.
Yeah, go ahead.
Verse 11. Thus ordered, Daruka took command of the Lord's chariot and drove forth. As the chariot entered the battlefield, everyone there, both the friend and foe, caught sight of the emblem of Garuda.
So they saw Garuda's end. Okay. Pass.
Verse 12. When Shalva, the master of a decimated army, saw Lord Krishna approaching, he hurled his spear at the Lord's charioteer. The spear roared frighteningly as it flew across the battlefield.
Yes, so Shalva threw his spear. Next.
Verse 13. Shalva's hurtling spear lit up the whole sky like a mighty meteor, but Lord Shauri tore the great weapon into hundreds of pieces with his arrows.
Next.
Lord Krishna then pierced Shalva with 16 arrows and struck the Sarva airship with a deluge of arrows as it darted about the sky. Firing his arrows, the Lord appeared like the sun flooding the heavens with its rays.
Again.
Continue. Shalva then managed to strike Lord Krishna's left arm, which held his bow Sharanga, and amazingly, Sharanga fell from his hand.
Next.
Those who witnessed this all cried out in dismay. Then the master of Sarva roared loudly and addressed Lord Janardhan.
So, here Vishnu Thakur says, the previous verse and this verse are not the opinion of Shukdev. So, that the bow fell from the Lord's hand was astonishing because the Lord's arm has unlimited strength. So, how could Shalva make the bow fall down from the Lord's hand? The Lord has unlimited strength. Okay, so we'll go ahead. But this is a point that is being raised, that how could the Lord allow this to happen? Okay.
Salva said, "You fool, because in our presence you kidnapped the bride of our friend Shishupal, your own cousin, and because you later murdered him in the sacred assembly while he was inattentive. Today, with my sharp arrows, I will send you to the land of no return. Though you think yourself invincible, I will kill you now if you dare stand before me."
Okay, so in this way, Shalva is threatening Krishna with these words. And of course, the Acharyas cannot tolerate insulting words to the Supreme Lord or his devotees. And so therefore, they always give the other meaning of the words. And so in this case also, Vishnu Chakravarti Thakur is giving another meaning. How the other meaning is, because there is no confusion for you, yat tvaya amudha, you took your rightful wife. So because Shalva's main problem was what? Rukmini, during the Rukmini Haran. So he felt very insulted. So therefore he is saying, because there is no confusion for you, you took your rightful wife, who's actually Lakshmi, while we and our friend and paternal cousin Shishupal looked on, and you ignored us. Today, I let you, the object of adoration, for being invincible to sharp arrows, give me liberation. Today, I let you give me liberation. So he is saying, I will kill you. So the meaning is turned to say that you liberate me. So yes, ultimately when Krishna kills, the person gets liberation, right? So that's the positive way of looking at it. Or I attain you who gives liberation. Tvam apunar avrittim, and therefore will not take rebirth. So you give me liberation, and then I will not take rebirth. So that is how the Acharyas are giving the other meaning of what Shalva is saying. Okay, in reply to that, the Supreme Lord is saying?
The Supreme Lord said, "O Dullard, you boast in vain, since you fail to see death standing near you. Real heroes do not talk much, but rather show their prowess in action."
Okay, so the Lord calling manda. So you're simply boasting. Okay, next.
Having said this, the furious Lord swung his club with frightening power and speed and hit Salva on the collarbone, making him tremble and vomit blood. But as soon as Lord Achyuta withdrew his club, Shalva disappeared from sight, and a moment later a man approached the Lord. Bowing his head down to him, he announced, Devki has sent me, and sobbing spoke the following words. The man said, O Krishna, Krishna, mighty armed one, who are so affectionate to your parents, Shalva has seized your father and taken him away as a butcher leads an animal to slaughterhouse. When he heard this disturbing news, Lord Krishna, who was playing the role of a mortal man, showed sorrow and compassion, and out of love for his parents, he spoke the following words like an ordinary conditioned soul. Lord Krishna said, Balram is ever vigilant, and no demigod or demon can defeat him. So, how could this insignificant Shalva defeat him and abduct my father? Indeed, fate is all powerful. After Govinda spoke these words, the master of Sobha again appeared, apparently leading Vasudev before the Lord. Shalva then spoke as follows. Shalva said, Here is your dear father who begot you and for whose sake you are living in this world. I shall now kill him before your very eyes. Save him if you can, weakling. After he had mocked the Lord in this way, the magician Shalva appeared to cut off Vasudev's head with his sword. Taking the head with him, he entered the Saubha vehicle, which was hovering in the sky.
Okay, text 28. Let's recite. Tato muhurtam prakrita upaplutah swabodha aste swajananusangataha mahanubhavastada buddhyadasurim mayam sashalva prashrutam mayoditam.
By nature, Lord Krishna is full in knowledge, and he possesses unlimited powers of perception. Yet, for a moment, out of great affection for his loved ones, he remained absorbed in the mood of an ordinary human being. He soon recalled, however, that this was all a demoniac illusion engineered by Mayadano and employed by Shalva.
Okay, fine. So we'll take a break and we'll continue our discussions on one important theme over here. So we'll discuss that after the break. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna, we'll reconvene at 12:30.
Hare Krishna. So in this 20th verse, Shukdev Goswami is saying that tataha tato muhurtam, for a moment, prakritau upapluta. He was absorbed in that mood of an ordinary human being. Swabodha, although he was swabodha, fully cognizant, he knows everything, but still he remained in the mood of an ordinary human being, and he was lamenting for his swajana. Swajana anusangataha. Even though he is Mahanubhava, but still he was lamenting like an ordinary person for his relatives and friends. Okay, we'll read a few verses and maybe we can discuss something. We're coming to that. We're coming to that. So we'll just read a few more verses. Okay, somebody can read the translation of 29. Who was in line? May Balbhadra Kripa. 29 translation.
Now, Hare Krishna. Now alert to the actual situation, Lord Achyuta saw before him on the battlefield neither the messenger nor his father's body. It was as if he had awakened from a dream. Seeing his enemy flying above him in his Sobha plane, the Lord then prepared to kill him.
Okay, so for a moment, the Lord appeared to be bewildered, but then immediately he came out of that apparently bewildering situation, and then he understood that everything was simply an illusion, some sort of magic, and then he saw Shalva and the Sava plane and was preparing to kill him. Okay, 30. Let's recite this verse. Evam vadanti rajarshe rushaya kechananvitaha Yatsvavacho virudhyeta nunam tena smarantyuta.
Such is the account given by some sages, O wise king, but those who speak in this illogical way are contradicting themselves, having forgotten their own previous statements.
Purport?
If someone thinks that Lord Krishna was actually bewildered by Salva's magic and that the Lord was subjected to ordinary mundane lamentation, such an opinion is illogical and contradictory. Since it is well known that Lord Krishna is the Supreme Personality of Godhead, transcendent and absolute, this will further explain in the following verses.
Yes, so we'll go to the further verses. 31. Kva shoka moha sneho va bhayam va yegnya sambhavaha kva cha kandita vijnana jnaneshwaryastva kanditaha.
How can lamentation, bewilderment, mortal affection or fear, all born out of the ignorance, be ascribed to the infinite Supreme Lord, whose perception, knowledge, and power are all similarly infinite?
Purport?
Srila Prabhupada writes, lamentation, agreement, and bewilderment are characteristic of a conditioned soul. But how can such thing affect the person of the Supreme, who is full of knowledge, power, and all opulence? Actually, it is not at all possible that Lord Krishna was misled by the mystic jugglery of Salva. He was displaying his pastime of playing the role of a human being. All the great Bhagavatam commentators conclude that grief, illusion, and attachment and fear which arise out of ignorance of the soul can never be present in the transcendental dramatic pastime enacted by the Lord. Srila Jiva Goswami gives many examples from Krishna's pastime to illustrate this point. For instance, when the coward boy entered the mouth of Aghasura, Lord Krishna was apparently astonished. Similarly, Brahma took away Lord Krishna's coward boyfriend and calves. The Lord at first began to look for them as if he did not know where they were. Thus, the Lord plays the part of an ordinary human being so as to release transcendental pastime with his devotees. One should never think the personality of Godhead is an ordinary person, as Sukadeva Goswami explained in this and following verses.
Okay, next verse. Yat pada sebo jitayatma vidyaya hinvantyanadhyatma viparyaya graham labhanta atmiyamanantameshwaram kuto numoha paramasya sadgate.
By virtue of self-realization, fortified by service rendered to his feet, devotees of the Lord dispel the bodily concept of life, which has bewildered the soul since time immemorial. Thus, they attain eternal glory in his personal association. How then can the Supreme Truth, the destination of all genuine saints, be subject to illusion?
Purport.
As a result of fasting, the body becomes weak, and one thing I am emaciated. Similarly, sometimes a conditioned soul think I am happy or I am unhappy. Ideas based on the bodily concept of life. Simply by serving the lotus feet of the Lord Krishna, however, devotee become free from this bodily concept of life. So how could such illusion possibly affect the Supreme Personality of Godhead at any time?
Right? By serving the Supreme Lord, one becomes free from illusion. Then how can the Supreme Lord be under illusion? That's the logical point Sukadeva Goswami is raising. And so he's saying, how can this kwa shoka moha sneho va bhayam va? So how can all this shoka moha sneha bhaya affect the Supreme Lord, whose akhandita vijnana, whose vijnana is akhandita, cannot be broken, it is infinite. So how can such a Supreme Lord be subjected to these type of illusory, bewildering situations? Reading Srila Vishnu Thakur's commentary on the 30th verse, he says, having presented the story as told by others. Okay, so Shukdev Goswami is presenting the story as told by others. Now Shukdev destroys it with this verse. Some sages who were not careful to see the agreement of all statements before and after have related this story. They did not consider that their words were contradictory to other statements of the Bhagavatam. Krishna did not go to the Rajsu sacrifice with Balaram, as stated in verse 8, since previously it was stated that Krishna took permission from Balaram and then went to Indraprasth without him. Thus, how can the words attributed to Krishna in verse 8 be true? So, therefore, in verse 8 also he said that this is not Shukadev's version. Because in verse 8 it was said that he was there with Balaram. But here he is saying Krishna did not go to the Rajsu sacrifice with Balaram as stated in verse 8, since previously it was stated that Krishna took permission from Balaram and then went to Indraprastha without him. But here it is said that Balaram was with him. But here he is saying, but actually he did not go. Thus, how can the words attributed to Krishna in verse 8 be true? Even if they were true, how could Krishna say such things as, how did weak Shalva defeat Balaram, unconquerable by devas or demons, and take away my father? Okay, that is for 30th verse. Now coming to 31st verse. Moreover, is it possible that Krishna could be bewildered by Shalva's illusions? How are the affection and lamentation for Vasudev caused by this illusion possible? Nor is it possible that he could have fear of Shalva. And how is it possible for him to let go of his bow Saranga by that illusion of Shalva? Therefore, Shukdev speaks this verse. Lamentation and other emotions are of two types. One is caused by ignorance and second is caused by knowledge. The emotions described here are possible in people who are ignorant or do not know everything, who are dependent on wrong sources of knowledge. But how is it possible in the Supreme Lord Krishna, who has unlimited knowledge? The spiritual emotions such as lamentation are possible in those who have knowledge, who are beyond illusion, occur in devotees and in the Lord, who is the very form of all sweet rasa, arising as sanchari bhavas as part of rasa. This can be very clearly seen in Damodar pastimes, where Krishna is crying, and the Purva Raga of the gopis during the Rasa Leela. Fear mentioned in this verse refers to verse 8. That fear is impossible for Krishna. Fear which caused Krishna to flee is not actual fear as mentioned by Uddhav. If it were real fear, then the intelligence of the wise would be erroneous according to the Bhagavatamrita. Such stories prevent the tasting of nectar like restricting a horse with a halter. And the 32nd verse he says, the impossibility of Krishna being fooled by Shalva's tricks is further explained in this verse by showing that even the Lord's devotees cannot be bewildered. What to speak of the Lord? How is it possible for Shalva, a human being, to bewilder Krishna, the Supreme Lord, who is the goal of the saints, who remove the endless delusion of being happy or sad by knowledge of the Lord, nourished by service to his lotus feet, and do not have any conception of being a controller? It is not possible, and therefore those words are false. Okay, so there's a good controversy right here. Some conflicts. Of course, we can learn from the conflict. But there's a conflict. So, Shukdev Goswami says that some sages have presented like this, that Krishna appeared to be bewildered when he, first of all, his saranga bow fell off. And then when Shalva presented his father's head and all that, So he was apparently momentarily bewildered with affection and all that. So you can see here, Vishwanath Chakravarti also is presenting two aspects. So one aspect he is presenting that, yes, Krishna cannot be bewildered. He is the Supreme Lord. He is full knowledge. Akhandita Vijnana. He cannot be put in ignorance. But at the same time, he is also talking about spiritual emotions. He is also talking about spiritual emotions. It's possible. For the sake of rasa, then the spiritual emotions are also possible. And in the purport here to text 31, quoting Srila Prabhupada, so Srila Prabhupada also writes, he was displaying his pastime of playing the role of a human being. Naralila. Naralila. Or in the first canto, first chapter, Guda Kapata Manusha. Right? He is Guda Kapata Manusha. But at the same time, he is performing Ati Martyani Bhagavan. Superhuman pastimes. Okay? So then the question is, so what is correct? So was Krishna in a state of bewilderment or no? How do we reconcile? Are they two different opinions? What's that? So that's what we're trying to discuss.
So many times we have seen Krishna actually getting, Krishna in the sense, Lord in different avatars getting bewildered just by the arrangement of Yogamaya to show certain pastimes. So what Prabhupada and Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur's two different points sums it up all is what I'm thinking.
Okay. So our question is, did Krishna actually exhibit these emotions or no? Or if yes, then how? If no, then is this all wrong?
Yes, he exhibits.
So as I understand from Radharaman Maharaj, what he said is that is also true, this is also true, whatever is said in the Bhagavatam is true.
Okay, fine. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. So we see that in Ramayana also. Prabhu Ram, when Mother Sita is kidnapped, he became grief-stricken and all those emotions. We saw that in his battle with Ravana also, when he was trying to cut off his heads. At one point in time, he was bewildered, and then he was reminded, Prabhu Ram, and by his guru, and in terms of his guru appeared like that, the whole pastime happens. So this looks like a recurring theme when Lord appears as Nar. He do manifest his the past in such a way, it kind of bewilders an ordinary faithless people who often do not want to believe on the divinity of the Lord. Other thing is at the Mahabharata war, when on the 9th day, when Bhishma Pitama wanted to kill Arjuna, and when Krishna broke his vow because of previous night, and the chariot was broken down. So when Krishna is running, the first canto describes the Bhishma Pitama had a darshan. Lord's form was molten as if like a beautiful mountain with having a molten lava, which means Bhishma Pitama's arrows had pierced Krishna's body and blood has oozed out. And the same point is more or less has been mentioned here also. So this is a recurring theme in that way.
Okay, good. Thank you. Somebody wants to answer?
His Leela is achintya, not understandable.
Mike.
We can say that the Lord has shown in other avatars also same kind of activities. Or even in Krishna avatar, like Prabhuji is saying, like Bhishma is shooting arrow and showing the blood.
Yes, we saw even Jiva Goswami is talking about two pastimes, right? We read in this purport. Which pastimes? Brahma Vimohan Leela and Agasur Leela. Yes, those two pastimes also when Krishna appeared to be bewildered. Right. Hmm. But you find Vishwanath Chakravarti is also giving an explanation as to why this could be true also.
But then saying that Sukadeva Goswami does not agree with this because Lord cannot be bewildered. But we have incidents where Lord has exhibited that as a pastime. So it's kind of self-contradictory. The question only, why have a discussion when it has been already proven to the past?
Right. Online, any comments?
We couldn't hear him, Prabhu. We couldn't hear him. Can you repeat what he said?
Who said?
The previous comment.
Okay, the previous comment was, Madan Sundar Prabhu said that there have been many instances where the Lord appeared to be bewildered, confused. And so why to bring about this whole discussion on why the Lord appeared to be bewildered and whether Shukdev Goswami didn't actually speak these verses, the previous, some other sages spoke. So why bring about this whole discussion? That is the point. So any other online devotees want to comment?
Hare Krishna Prabhuji.
Yes.
Mother Yashoda also, when she was behind Krishna, Krishna was running away in Damodar Leela.
Yes.
Here also we see Krishna
Not only just
is
running, he was crying.
crying also. So, so in many pastimes we can see the same situation. Lord actually he behaves under his influence only under Yoga Maya. He behaves as if he wants to nourish his pastime for himself. If he always thinks I am Supreme Lord, then how can he nourish? How can he taste the pastime? So he want to taste the pastime. So he allows the Yoga Maya to overtake him by his permission. Yoga Maya do the all those activities.
Yes. Okay. Yes, brother.
Generally, we hear when acharyas are presenting a contradictory thing, then one has to come to a samanvaya because we can't say any one of them right or wrong. So it's my speculation, which I'm now making.
No, that's correct.
So, basically, we can say that Sukadeva Goswami is rejecting it because of his own bhava that Salva is a demon, and he can't tolerate that. So he's rejecting that statement that it's impossible. Whereas, because he is in that mood right now, and maybe other Vaishnavas are in other, they are neutral about it. Both are fine. So it is about can we say like that? Sukadeva Goswami his own bhav is there like that right now, and then that solves the contradictory.
Yes. Everything depends on the perception. That makes the whole difference. And so therefore, what is being denied is the misunderstanding that Krishna is exhibiting these emotions like an ordinary person. So, in order to rule out the misunderstandings of materialistic persons who may say, on the basis of these pastimes, especially Mayavadis, when they read these pastimes, they say, look, Krishna is behaving like an ordinary materialistic person. Therefore, he has a material body. So, in order to prevent that misunderstanding, therefore, Shukdev Goswami and the Acharyas, they want to say, no, it cannot be ordinary. So, therefore, they're ruling it out, that it cannot happen because he is not a materialistic person, or he doesn't have a material body like ours, and therefore he cannot be subjected to such emotions. And so therefore Shukdev Goswami, to make that Siddhanta very clear, he is ruling it out. Just like many times it is said, the Supreme Lord is Nirgun. He doesn't have any qualities. But what does it mean? No material qualities. Or sometimes it's also said the Supreme Lord has no name or form. But what does it mean? No material name and no material form. So in the same way, when Shukdev Goswami is denying that the Supreme Lord cannot act like this, he cannot exhibit these emotions, it means that he cannot exhibit material emotions. He cannot exhibit material ignorance. That is the understanding. But from a higher perspective, or from another perspective, we understand that Krishna does exhibit spiritual emotions. And therefore, Vishwanath Chakravarti is saying, the spiritual emotions such as lamentation are possible in those who have knowledge, who are beyond illusion. So therefore, yes, Krishna is not exhibiting material emotions, but then what he's exhibiting is spiritual emotions. But then, just so that people don't point out to this pastime and say, yes, Krishna is exhibiting some material emotions like ordinary human being, therefore Shukdev Goswami is saying, no, it cannot happen. But then, at the same time, for those who are devotees and who can understand the spiritual rasas, then they can understand that Krishna does exhibit spiritual emotions. And so, in all these pastimes, whether it is Aghasur or Brahma Vimohan Leela, then Krishna is playing that Nara Leela and is exhibiting those emotions just for the sake of rasa. Just for the pastime. Because if Krishna all the time shows that he is God, then where is the fun? Because Mother Yashoda wants to serve Krishna as a child, as an ordinary child, as a son. So if he does not behave like an ordinary small child, how will Mother Yashoda exhibit Vatsalya ras? And Krishna also wants to taste the Vatsalya ras. So if he all the time shows his godhood, then how can he experience that relationship with Mother Yashoda? So ultimately, all what Krishna does. So there is some other verse in the Bhagavatam I'm not recollecting right now, but which says that actually the Lord has no need to perform any activities. Namam karma nilimpanti, name karma phales. He does not have to perform any work. He is Atmaram, he is Aptakam, he is totally self-satisfied. Why he has to perform any work? Why he has to perform all these activities? Why he has to fight in this war? He doesn't have to do anything. But why he does? There's only one reason, and that is to give pleasure to his devotees. That is the only reason why he performs all these activities. And if he has to give pleasure to his devotees, then he must act in such a way that his devotees will get pleasure. And that is the reason why he performs these pastimes, he behaves like an ordinary human being, and then he experiences all these spiritual emotions. So otherwise, the whole purpose of his descent and performing all these activities will be lost. So that's how we can reconcile both the aspects and understand, yes, it's based on a perception and everything has a specific purpose. So Shukdev Goswami is denying the Krishna's bewilderment also has a purpose. And then on a higher platform, Krishna's actually exhibiting all these various emotions also has a purpose. So both have their specific purposes. And so as devotees, then we have to look at it from all the various aspects and reconcile everything.
Just one reflection on what we are discussing about emotions of Krishna. So in terms of Damodar Leela, he wants to give pleasure to someone.
Yes.
And when Yashoda has gone to see the milk, he's becoming angry. So actually that anger is not seen by anyone. He's really angry. That's what Acharyas say. So it's not about showing anyone else. So, but the whole pastime of Damodar Leela is to exchange of love with his pure devotee.
Correct.
But current scenario is not like that. What pastime is happening here, there is no one to give pleasure to. Whereas the entry to the Aghasura, there is pleasure to the boys. They have friends, and so Leela Shakti does that. So that's very clear. So here in this case, there is whom he is giving pleasure by showing the moha. So it shows.
Yes.
No.
Exactly.
No.
Yes, that's correct. To the devotees who are reading the pastime. Otherwise, if Krishna is not showing any emotions, Krishna has no emotions, nothing, he is just one shot finished. Why fight only? Simply by his desire, Shalva can be finished. Why to fight only? If there is no fight, then this whole pastime would not have been there.
Asking such simple thing. Or your kind info. I am relishing it. So we are discussing and relishing more.
I understood your point.
Yeah. So
you're trying to understand who is getting pleasure.
Here, so there is no one. We are getting here discussing about it, and acharyas are saying different things. That's why we are discussing.
Correct.
So the pleasure in the past time, there is nothing happening. Like fights, you see Bhagavatam, there are different fights where Virya Rasa is discussed. So Bhishma Pitamaha's fight, he is giving pleasure to Bhishma, and no one knows in the creation what he is doing except Bhishma and Shukdev. So that is happening in that fight. Hiranyakashipu Hiranyaksha fight is a long fight. So there is a Virya Rasa exchange, but Kamsa fight, there is nothing happening. No one is getting pleasure other than the hearers of it. So there is a difference here. So here what I am saying is what Shukdev Goswami has spoken something. So Vishwanath is saying that Shukdev Goswami has not spoken his opinion. So why they are having differences? Because the words of Bhagavatam they are sticking to. Because Bhagavatam is saying, Balram was there. So he said, no, that is not the case. So here there is no pleasure to anyone. So that's why they are discussing. And what exactly happened, I am still not at conclusion. I don't know what you want to say.
But Vishwanath Chakravarti is also talking about spiritual emotions.
He's talking about a Siddhanta. Did he say that this happened? Means I wanted to read, but
so
because it's an illusion. An illusion cannot create emotion in reality.
Okay, so we'll read this once again. Huh?
What? See, any acharya is saying that this happened.
See, I'll read it once again. So the commentary to the 31st verse.
So fast, I don't have capacity to grasp.
No problem. You have it? $31.
In this case, the Asuri Mohan makes a lot of sense for these people because Bhagavatam acts as Mohini Murti. So for them, this is nice. So that is very simple part. Did I read from there?
You only read.
Moreover, it is impossible.
Is it possible?
Moreover, is it possible that Krishna could be bewildered by Shalva's illusions? How are the affection and lamentation for Vasudev caused by this illusion possible? Nor is possible that he could have fear of Shalva. And how is it possible for him to let go of his bow Sharanga by that illusion of Shalva? Therefore, Shukdev speaks this verse. Lamentation and other emotions are of two types, caused by ignorance and caused by knowledge. The emotions are described here are possible in people who are ignorant. or do not know everything, who are dependent on wrong sources of knowledge. But how is it possible in the Supreme Lord Krishna, who has unlimited page down so easy knowledge? The spiritual emotions such as lamentation possible in those who have knowledge, who are beyond illusion, occur in the devotees. I'm sorry, Prabhu, I'm read again. The spiritual emotions such as lamentation possible in those who have knowledge, who are beyond illusion, occur in the devotees and in the Lord, who is very form of all sweet rasa, arising as sanchari bhavas as a part of rasa. This can be very clearly seen in Damodar pastime, Krishna crying, and the Purva Raga of the Gopis during Ras Leela. Fear mentioned in this verse refers to verse 8. So Krishna became fearful in verse 8?
Because he was afraid. He was thinking, I have left Balaram to protect, and in spite of Balaram being there, how could this person kill Vasudev? That was his fear.
That fear, okay, 8 verse, thank you. That fear is impossible for Krishna. Fear which is caused Krishna to flee is not actual fear as mentioned by Uddhava. That is Kalevan. If it were real fear, then the intelligence of the wise would be erroneous, according to Bhagavatamrita. Such stories prevent the tasting of nectar, like restricting a horse with a halter. So what is this last horse with a halter? What is that? This analogy is there, which I don't know because I never drove a horse.
Nor did I.
In the sense, I can't fully understand what it is.
What's halter? Like restricting a horse with a halter.
So, such stories prevent tasting this. So what exactly happens?
So, such stories means the stories as he has related in the previous paragraph.
Hare Krishna.
For devotees, Lord is playing those emotions like Purva Rag for gopis, and for Yashodamai he is crying. But for non-devotees, if he is fearing and running away to save himself, going to Dwarka, so that emotion cannot be true.
Okay, what is Sanatana Goswami?
Moha means ignorance or possessiveness. These emotions arise from ignorance. They actually arise from the special bhakti of the Lord in Krishna. Okay. Of the Lord Krishna. A special bhakti of Lord Krishna. That is the hint. They are actually beyond the gunas. This ignorance arises even in the persons with knowledge. Though jnana and vijnana are included in Aishwarya, power, they are mentioned separately because they become especially prominent according to the occasions. Actually, the Lord is devoid of lamentation and ignorance and possesses continuous knowledge, since he is the Lord of Suddha Sattva.
See, that's what he's saying, that lamentation and other emotions are of two types, caused by ignorance and caused by knowledge. So both are there.
That is clear.
So this is what the acharyas are saying, and as here Srila Prabhupada's purport, he says, he was displaying his pastime of playing the role of a human being. This is the conclusion. Prabhupada's statement is the conclusion. He was displaying his pastime of playing the role of a human being. Yes. He's showing the emotions because he's playing the role. Role means what? Drama. So if it's a drama also has to be done properly, no? No taking sides. It is the conclusion. So the conclusion is that the Lord is playing the role of a human being, Naralila, and therefore he is exhibiting emotions like a human being.
how that tasting is hurdled, that statement I want to understand. What Chakravarti Thakur is Rasacharya and he is saying like,
so such stories prevent the tasting of nectar.
Yeah, horse like hot. So horse is running like anything and you put hot in hot, like the speed is reduced. Oh, ऐसा खींचना होगा. So he's saying like this that his horse is running but he's not allowed to run. It is like sweet rice you are taking and some.
So what he is meaning to say is that see, there is the flow of nectar in the pastimes, and if somebody is speaking all these different things, then it is like stopping the flow of nectar. Hmm. Yes, yes, correct. If one is having a materialistic conception, then it is, yes, correct. So one cannot have a materialistic conception, but one should have the proper understanding. Then one will be able to relish the nectar. That is the point. So if we have the proper understanding that Krishna is the Supreme Lord, he cannot be in ignorance, we understand all that, but at the same time we understand that he is playing the role of a human being. So with that proper understanding, one will be able to relish the nectar.
Is there any other pastime where such emotion is exhibited?
No, he's giving examples.
No, others are with devotees, I'm saying. See, Yashoda, we don't have any problem there. Problem is here when Shalva is there. No devotee is there around there. That's why something similar emotion, negative emotion showed by Krishna.
When there are no devotees.
No devotees are fighting with demons. Hiranyaksha it is there, but that is again rasa. Hiranyaksha, Lord becomes hurt, no?
Correct.
By his strong words. Any other fight?
So anyway, we cannot.
Fear, but that fear is Kalyavan and Jarasan fear is ruled out. That is not fear. That is another part, na? Just now. Uddhava.
No, but then again it is the same thing, na?
No, that's not the same. The fear of Mother Yashoda is real. The fear of Kalyana is wrong. That is very clear.
See, how can you say that fear in front of Mother Yashoda is real and that fear is unreal?
Because Acharyas are saying.
No, but from an absolute viewpoint, how can the Supreme Lord be subjected to fear?
Yes, so this is what Uddhava's doubt was. Uddhava had this doubt till Pravash. This two things happening, you know. What is taking birth, not birth? No, that verse, 2 verses. So that Uddhava's doubt was clarified by Krishna by saying that I do for pleasure of devotees. So Uddhava has no problem. So that part is taken care of. Here what I am trying to ask is, when the fear of Kalyavana, that is there is, it is not out of Kalyavana has not caused any fear to him.
Yes, that is what Supreme Lord cannot be afraid of anyone.
Yeah, he had a different plan altogether of the pastime. So
yes,
the fear emotion there is different.
So the simple point is that ultimately everything is for Leela. That is the simple point. Whether it is this pastime or that pastime or any pastime, ultimately it's all Leela, because the Lord is not forced to exhibit any of these emotions. He's not forced to do anything. So ultimately everything is Leela. So I don't see any problem with accepting.
Please forgive me.
No, it's a good discussion, no problem. But
can we just say that because he brought Vasudeva and killed him to show his affection, that how much he loves his father, he's doing it. He's exhibiting his, sorrowness. Because we all are just putting out a speculation, so I'm just adding this one into it.
we're not simply, we're not simply mentally speculating. We are trying to understand what the Acharyas are saying. That's what we have to take it from the Bhagavatam only, na?
I mean, I understood that Sukdev Goswami has spoken this to put it in a context that what others are saying is not correct.
He's saying others are. Shukdev Goswami is saying others have said, isn't it? That's what he says. Yes, that's correct. So he's saying that others have said. Which verse is that? See, in verse number 30. In verse number 30, he says, such is the account given by some sages. So that's what he's. Yes, that is the 31 and 32. Good. All right. So anyway, it's all the Lord's Leela, which is He's enjoying and He wants us also to enjoy. Yes. Okay, fine. Let's go ahead. 33. Please read.
While Shalva continued to hurl torrents of weapons at him with great force, Lord Krishna, whose prowess never fails, shot his arrows at Shalva, wounding him and shattering his armor, bow, and crest jewel. Then, with his club, the Lord smashed his enemy's Saubha's airship.
Purport.
Srila Prabhupada writes, when Shalva thought that Krishna had been bewildered by his mystic representations, he became encouraged and began to attack the Lord with greater strength and energy by showering volumes of arrows upon him. But the enthusiasm of Shalva can be compared to the speedy march of flies into a fire. Lord Krishna, by hurling his arrows with unfathomable strength injured Shalva, whose armor, bow, and jeweled helmet all scattered into pieces. With a crashing blow from Krishna's club, Shalva's wonderful airplane burst into pieces and fell into the sea. The fact that Shalva's insignificant mystic power could not bewilder Lord Krishna is here emphatically demonstrated.
Continue.
Shattered into thousands of pieces by Lord Krishna's club, the Saubha's airship plummeted into water. Shalva abandoned it, stationed himself on the ground, took up his club, and rushed towards Lord Achyuta.
Continue.
As Shalva rushed at him, the Lord shot a bhala dart and cut off his arm that held the club. Having finally decided to kill Shalva, Krishna then raised his Sudarshan disc weapon, which resembled the sun at a time of universal annihilation. The brilliantly shining Lord appeared like the easternmost mountain bearing the rising sun. Employing his disc, Lord Hari removed that great magician's head with its earrings and crown, just as Purandara had used his thunderbolt to cut off Vritra's head. Seeing this, all of Shalva's followers cried out, "Alas, alas!" Ahead also.
There's one remaining.
With the sinful Shalva now dead and his Saubha airship destroyed, the heaven resounded with kettle drums played by the group of demigods. Then Dantwakra, wanting to avenge the death of his friend, furiously attacked the Lord. Thus ends the purport of humble servants of His Divine Grace, A.C. Bhakti Vedanta Swami, in the 10th canto, 77th chapter, Srimad Bhagavatam, entitled Lord Krishna Slays the Demon, Salva.
But on the basis of this discussion, we would also like to a little bit discuss another related theme, and that is, so just like here, the Lord, He shows emotions for the sake of Leela, for the sake of pastime. And that is what gives pleasure to the devotees, and that is what makes the whole pastime so human-like and so exciting and wonderful to relish. So, therefore, from a spiritual perspective, yes, the emotions do exist. But just as somebody may think that, yes, the Lord is absolute, He doesn't need any emotions, or there's no need to show any emotions. So similarly, there could be there could be a sort of misunderstanding that even devotees should not have any emotions, or devotees also should not be affected by the situations of this world. And so devotees who are supposed to be on the spiritual platform, perfectly understanding that we are not the bodies but spirit souls, should not have any emotions. So sometimes such a sort of misunderstanding could also be there. And so therefore, in that pastime of Hiranyaksha, there Srila Prabhupada actually gives a very beautiful purport. So maybe we can just read that purport. You go to the, this is in the 3rd canto. Third canto. This is 18th chapter. Just 1 second. This is the 6th verse. Okay, and we can, got it? Okay, read the translation of the purport.
Hare Krishna. Although the Lord was pained by the shaft-like abusive words of the demon, he bore the pain. But seeing that earth on the ends of his tusk was frightened, he rose out of the water just as an elephant emerges with its female companion when assailed by an alligator.
Purport.
The Mayavadis philosophers cannot understand that Lord has feelings. The Lord is satisfied if someone offers him a nice prayer. And similarly, if someone decries his existence or calls him by ill names, God is dissatisfied. The Supreme Personality of Godhead is decried by the Mayavadi philosophers, who are almost demons. They say that God has no head, no form, no existence, and no legs, hands, or other bodily limbs. In other words, they say that he is dead or lame. All these misconceptions of the Supreme Lord are a source of dissatisfaction to him. He is never pleased with such atheistic descriptions. In this case, although the Lord felt sorrow from the piercing words of the demon, he delivered the earth from the satisfaction for the satisfaction of the demigods, who are ever his devotees. The conclusion is that God is an sentient God is as sentient as we are. He is satisfied by our prayers and dissatisfied by our harsh words against him. In order to give protection to his devotees, he is always ready to tolerate insulting words from the atheists.
Yes. So God is as sentient as we are. And so the devotees are also sentient. And so therefore, even on the most advanced platform, definitely the emotions still remain. One cannot expect one to become emotionless or no feelings. We find in the life of Srila Prabhupada himself exhibiting wide variety, a range of emotions on so many different occasions. So he showed all types of emotions, from anger to disgust to displeasure, sadness, happiness, everything he showed. Of course, they were all centered around Krishna. They were all spiritual emotions. But one cannot expect that as devotees, one will be emotionless. So this is elaborately discussed by Purnachandra Maharaj in his book, Unspoken Obstacles on the Path of Devotion. Anybody read the book? No? In one of the brahmachari classes, I'd taken a section of that. Anyone remembers? Recently, recent is a relative term, of course, but maybe some months back. So one of the chapters which he talks about is impersonalism amongst devotees, and so there he writes that how we have the most personalist philosophy, but sometimes we could have the most impersonal dealings, and so therefore, and in fact, Sri Guru Prabhu was definitely there in that class. I remember. So, in fact, we enacted this drama, which Maharaj speaks of in his book, is his personal experience of how one day he was chanting in the temple hall, and one devotee wanted to know the time. And so Maharaj was wearing a watch, so the devotee just picked up his hand, saw the watch, and put the hand down. You know, we enacted the drama. So there he elaborately speaks on this point of impersonal dealings. And so therefore, we have to understand that even though we understand the philosophy that we are not bodies but spirit souls, but at the same time we are not Mayavadis, impersonalists, and of course even the Mayavadis, impersonalists, definitely they will also have emotions. But of course, we are not talking about material emotions, we are definitely talking about spiritual emotions in connection to Krishna. But the point is that how, as Prabhupada is explaining in this purport, that how the Lord is pleased when somebody is offering nice prayers and is dissatisfied by harsh words. So similarly, we have to understand that even devotees also have feelings, and one definitely has to be sensitive. We read in that, Bhakti Vedanta Maharaj's article also we read, that we need to be sensitive. And so therefore, that's a good lesson for us to learn from this discussion. And that is how we definitely need to be sensitive. And everyone has emotions as sentient beings. And of course, it's not that the emotions should be on a material platform, but even in the service to the Lord, there are emotions and one needs to be sensitive. That's the point. Yes, bro.
Hare Krishna. Like this purport we read, where Prabhupada is saying that Lord is also sentient and he feels when insulted. So there is one pastime of like Lord Buddha and his disciples walking, and then one person comes out and he starts insulting Lord Buddha. And Lord Buddha just hears it, and then these disciples are very angry, and that fellow goes away. And they ask, why didn't you say anything? So he says that if somebody gives you a gift and you don't accept, it belongs to that same person. So he was like unaffected. He said, I didn't accept the gift, and he walked away like that. So there he was affected 0%, Lord himself. So he is by his example telling that we can also be like that. In somebody insults, we can remain unaffected. So same Lord Buddha here is Vara. So here he's
Of course, Lord Buddha came to teach a different philosophy. So he came to teach the philosophy of Shunyavad. Everything is Shunya, zero. So zero emotions. Well, according to what Srila Prabhupada is writing here, it is not possible. But see, it is not that the Lord is affected due to some personal reason. Here, when it said that the Lord, he is feeling dissatisfied or he feels pain, it is not, he is Atmaram. How can he feel pain? But his feeling is a sort of compassion for the demon. So just like when a child, he misbehaves, then the mother and father, they feel pity for the child, isn't it? They feel, Arey, what is he doing? He's harming himself. That is the emotion which the Lord feels. That is, here also it said, Prabhupada is also writing here. Here also he is saying that, he delivered the earth. He delivered the earth for the satisfaction of the demigods who are ever his devotees. In this case, although the Lord felt sorrow from the piercing words of the demon, he felt some sorrow, but then he did his duty because the demigods were afraid of the demon and the earth. So he delivered the earth for the satisfaction of the demigods. So ultimately, the Lord's pastimes for the satisfaction of the devotees. That's correct. At the same time, the sorrow which the Lord is feeling here is because he feels pity for the demons.
Demigods felt bad that demigods feeling bad because our Lord is getting insulted by a demon. So they felt bad, and seeing that Lord is feeling bad. So it's like that. So
this comment definitely comes in some pastime. I don't know whether it's in relation to this pastime, but in some pastime definitely that point comes. That seeing the devotee's pain, then the Lord also feels pain. That Siddhanta is correct. The Siddhanta is correct. Whether it's in this case or not. Rumar? Any case, whatever it is, the point is Lord has feelings, devotees have feelings, and therefore we have to be sensitive. That is the lesson we are trying to learn. Okay, fine. Yes, these are definitely spiritual feelings. They are not material feelings. We are discussing because we have to be sensitive.
yes, because like somebody insults us, then we should try not to feel that, right? Because we should be as much as unaffected as possible.
At the same time, we can't do things artificially.
No, by understanding knowledge that he is the instrument of my karma and like that. So we should try that we should not feel.
Yes, correct.
So that is because it's negative emotion.
Yes, as far as I am concerned, when somebody insults me, as far as I am concerned, definitely I should understand the philosophy. Okay, he's behaving like that because of my own karma, and I should not be too much affected and all that. I definitely have to understand that. And but at the same time, I cannot insult somebody else and think that he also should feel like that.
That is understood. But if I am insulted, I should think that he is the instrument, and I should try to feel as minimum as emotions. And if I feel some emotion, that is material emotion.
But we cannot totally deny it. Okay, for that, let's give a reference. Okay, open 5th canto. Now, I hope I remember this reference correctly. This is 5th canto, 13th chapter, text 34. हाँ 34 देखो 34 है ही नहीं तो फिर या 12 में है देख कहीं तो 34 कौन सा conversation between Maharaj 14 देख लो क्या है। थोड़ा ये लगा चलेगी। No, it is not this one actually. That is in kya? No, it's in the 5th canto only. So anyway, you can do a quick search. You can search for waves of dissatisfaction. Waves of dissatisfaction. Waves, taranga. Waves of dissatisfaction. Yes, 5th canto. 5? Okay, my memory was not so bad. I said 34. What's it? 5? 13, 24. 5, 13, 20. Read.
Sri Shukdev Goswami continued, My dear king, O son of Mother Uttara, there were some waves of dissatisfaction in the mind of Jadabharat due to his being insulted by King Rahugana, who made him carry the palanquin. But Jadabharat neglected this, and his heart again became calm and quiet like an ocean. Although King Rahugana had insulted him, he was a great Paramhamsa. Being a Vaishnava, he was naturally very kind hearted, and he therefore told the king about the constitutional position of the soul. He then forgot the insult because King Rahugana pitifully begged pardon at his lotus feet. After this, he began to wander all over the earth just as before.
See what Prabhupada writes in the purport. A pure devotee has all the qualities of a sadhu. Jad Bharat is an example of this. Due to the material body, see these words, due to the material body, his senses were certainly agitated when he was insulted by King Rahugana. But later, due to the king's humble submission, Jad Bharat excused him. It is the duty of everyone desiring to return to God to become submissive. So
this is due to the material body is there.
Yes.
There will be some pain if somebody insults.
As long as material body is there, exactly, there'll be some influence of the modes. Dhruva Maharaj. Yes, for Lord Shiva also, and even in case of Dhruva Maharaj. Hey, Mike.
So Srila Prabhupada makes a similar point in the 4th canto when Mother Sati wanted permission from Lord Shiva to go, and Lord Shiva said, I have been insulted. So he expressed that he felt hurt by it. And then Prabhupada draws a parallel. Lord Shiva, because of his contact with mode of ignorance, despite being Vaishnavam Yatha Shambhu, he felt. However, Parikshit Maharaj in the 1st canto, he was cursed by Shringi. He did not react in any way. He did not even say once that I'm hurt, I have ill feelings. And the Prabhupada said, because he being pure devotee of the Lord, but just because Shambhu also, but because of contact mode of ignorance, it happens.
Right. So therefore, the important point is that if this is what is happening to such exalted personalities, these are actually liberated personalities. They're on the liberated platform. But still, because of just being in the material world and having a material body and material mind, some influence of the modes is definitely going to be there, and we cannot totally negate such emotions. But as you can see here, he felt that, but then he neglected it.
Yeah, that is understood. Now he is saying about Parikshit Maharaj. Now, is there a difference between Parikshit Maharaj and Jad Bharat? Means he is more pure Parikshit because he didn't feel anything, zero. And Jad Bharat is feeling.
See,
so then
Parikshit Maharaj, see, he was cursed. Now, see, every small detail may not be described, but the fact is that he understood that that curse was perfectly the plan of the Lord.
He also might be agitated.
Well, I don't know if there's any such description in the Bhagavatam. So, but of course, we do understand that he was repentant.
That's
yes,
right.
he was repentant. So, but in any case, he perfectly understood that that's the plan of the Lord. In any case, whatever it is, the lesson to learn is we cannot totally deny emotions in ourselves and in others.
So just,
and so why this is important is, see, if even as far as we are concerned, if we feel some discomfort, some emotion, some anger, and we think we land up into depression thinking that, oh, I've been practicing devotional service in so many years, still I'm feeling some emotion, some anger, some sadness. Is the process working or not? These type of questions will come. That is why this is relevant. So we have to understand that if such great people, such great personalities who are 100% on the liberated platform, even they feel such emotions, then what to speak of us? So therefore, we have to understand that the process is perfect, it is working, but it will take some time. And so therefore, we should not get into a sort of depression thinking that the process is not working. That's
thank you. Just like we give this mukta, means liberated, we give the example of the coconut, dry coconut.
correct.
So these people who are like Jivan Mukta, because they, that shell, we say that the shell is completely detached from the covering. So that, like that, their consciousness is completely detached from the body, 100%. So if some emotion is arising, like somebody insulting, then there is some connection with the body. Yes, I'm just trying to understand this. I had doubt. So because there is connection with the body, that's why somebody insults and I feel bad. If there is no connection with the body, then if somebody insults his body, then I should not feel any pain. So for a pure devotee, for sadhaka I'm understanding, but for a pure devotee liberated Jivan Mukta, if he's feeling emotion, if somebody is insulting, then whether he is Jivan Mukta.
That is why, okay.
That's
where did I read this? Wait, but I'm just trying to think of another reference where Prabhupada clarifies this. Recently we were discussing. This comes where, what we were discussing recently. Fifth canto.
Prabhu, may I say something?
Just one second. Where Prabhupada clearly describes about what does it mean to be on the liberated platform. No, okay. In any case, there was the discussion which we recently had. I'm trying to recollect, but definitely, Srila Prabhupada talks about this in Dhruv Maharaj section. So Dhruv Maharaj, he had darshan of the Supreme Lord, correct? So definitely he's on the liberated platform. And yet he got so angry. So how is that possible?
Because that anger was out of duty, as he is king.
That is true. But
not for his own sake.
Yes, that is true. But still, how can he exhibit so much anger? Pritumar, yes. So here you can see.
That's why question is why, if such emotions are there, that means there is some connection with the body.
So how? So that's the point. As long as one is in the material world, there is some connection. One cannot expect to be totally free of that connection because the body is there, the mind is there.
So like Arjuna's crying when Abhimanyu died, this comes in same category?
Yes, exactly.
He felt attachment for my son.
Yes,
my
son. So in a lecture talking about that pastime, Prabhupada says that affection of the father for the son is natural. It is natural. One cannot deny this.
But like Maharaj was saying that he was crying because he lost a Vaishnava.
Okay, fine. That is also correct. But Prabhupada doesn't say that. Prabhupada says the affection for a father towards his son is natural. That is what Prabhupada says.
So even in liberated Jivan Mukta, the little connection will be there with the body, and the material emotions will be there.
Yes.
Material emotions will be there even in a pure devotee.
Yes. Okay. And so somebody was giving an example of Srila Prabhupada, how Srila Prabhupada, this comes actually in a conversation, not a conversation, in a morning walk. In a morning walk with on Juhu Beach, we know there was Dr. Patel, and Dr. Patel is saying something to the effect that you're trying to preach all over the world, but who's going to take up, something like that. So something like that he was saying. And Srila Prabhupada is saying, don't discourage me like this. So someone, how Srila Prabhupada is feeling discouraged. So, so therefore, one has to understand that these are all part of being in the material worlds. One cannot negate.
Means only Lord is there who has Satchidan in the body. He cannot feel those emotions related to the body. But a pure devotee already, although he is 100% pure, but still he will have some material emotions because he has a material body.
And that is not to be taken very seriously, not to be taken as a flaw. That is the point. So therefore the main characteristic or the main quality of the pure devotee is his devotion to the Supreme Lord, his surrender to the Supreme Lord. That is to be taken into consideration. And so there could be some small, you could say, apparent flaws like this, that he could be affected by emotions, he could commit some mistakes on the material platform. So all these should not be taken very seriously. Like we all hear in Srila Prabhupada's lectures, Prabhupada makes some mistakes while quoting a verse or something like that. Now somebody may say, hey, pure devotee, how is committing mistake? No. So therefore we understand, yes, pure devotee is not God. God is always God and Jiva is always Jiva. Therefore we cannot expect that the pure devotee will be like God. But the important point is representing God in a pure way. That is the important thing. So therefore, some emotions like that and some little bit flaws, all these will be there, but these are not to be taken as some major flaws in the personality of the pure devotee. That is the point. Wait, just 1 second. I'm trying to find these. What reference you got?
So that purport is very crystal clear, makes things. 4.3.15. That is what.
Okay, show that. 4.3.
4.3.15.
4.3.
Lord Shiva, the deliverer of the hill Kailash, deliverer of the hill Kailash, having thus been addressed by his dear wife, replied smilingly, although at the same time he remembered the malicious, heart-piercing speeches delivered by Daksha before guardians of universal affairs. So this is the verse where Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur clarifies this material touch very clearly and glorifies Krishna over Shiva. So that makes things very clear that material touch of mode is affecting, not to speak of having a body.
Correct.
And Vidura also was deeply, marmasu tadi topi. The words of Duryodhan pierced his heart.
Correct.
Prabhupada writes there also that devotee is, he feels pain.
Yes.
So Vidura is also pure devotee. He also felt.
Yes.
So this purport, if you can know one of Vishwanath Chakravarti, it makes very nice. As you said, the glory of Krishna comes out along with devotee. 3.
And of course, Prabhupada in his purport is also quoting Vishwanath Chakravarti.
Yeah. Yes, he will also quote nature.
Lord Shiva is Atmaram, association complete self-realization. But because he is the incarnation in charge of the material mode of ignorance, Tamagun, he is sometimes affected by the pleasure and pain of the material world.
Yes, Prabhupada puts everything in a very precise way.
The difference between the pleasure and pain of this material world and that of the spiritual world is that in the spiritual world, the effect is qualitatively absolute. Therefore, one may feel sorry in the absolute world, but the manifestation of so-called pain is always full of bliss. That is in the spiritual world. And he's giving example of Lord Krishna being chastised with Mother Yashoda. But although he shed tears from his eyes, this is not to be considered a reaction of the mode of ignorance, for the instant was full of transcendental pleasure. When Krishna was playing in so many ways, sometimes it appeared that he caused distress to the gopis, but actually such dealings were full of transcendental bliss. That is the difference between material and spiritual worlds. The spiritual world where everything is pure is pervertedly reflected in this material world. Since everything in the spiritual world is absolute in the spiritual varieties of apparent pleasure and pain, there is no perception other than eternal bliss. Whereas in the material world, because everything is contaminated by the modes of material nature, there are feelings of pleasure and pain. Therefore, because Lord Shiva, although a fully self-realized person, was in charge of the material mode of ignorance, he felt sorrow.
So just one thing, like this Amrish Maharaj and our Durvas Muni, in that case we see Amrish Maharaj not getting at all affected by Durvas Muni's offense. In fact, when Amrish Maharaj, Durvas Muni comes later, he says, give my all the credits, and he was waiting for him for 1 year. So here we see 0% affection, means he didn't get affected by the material emotion. So what is his level?
See, all are pure devotees.
Yeah.
All are exalted pure devotees. The lesson to learn is, see, if we cannot analyze these personalities, you cannot do some threadbare analysis of these persons. What to learn is, as far as we are concerned, what to learn is that even if such an exalted personality shows some material emotions, they are not to be considered as a major flaw. Some may show, some may not show. Okay. Some may show, some may not show.
Everybody will have emotions. You are saying that. Material emotions.
Yes, some may show, some may show it, some may not show it.
Okay.
So that we cannot know that, right? If somebody internally is feeling something, but he's not showing it, how are we to understand that? So that won't be recorded in the Bhagavatam. So, but sometimes, like Jad Bharat, in the case of Jad Bharat, so Shukdev Goswami is mentioning. So the point is, so sometimes a pure devotee may show some emotions, sometimes he may not show some emotions, but in either case, we cannot consider that as a major flaw in his personality. Because what we have to consider is his devotion, his surrender to the Supreme Lord. That is what we have to consider. That is a lesson for us to learn. Chicken. You want to read something?
Actually, by bringing out such discussion, the Amrish Tartamya is coming out, that how glorious is Amrish.
Yes, that's also correct.
Like Prahlad Maharaj feeling affection for Hiranyakashipu, because this is our aspiration.
Correct.
So we are discussing about it to know their glory.
Correct.
And Jad Bharat also can feel. So here I'm just reading, I think it's there. He made his wife remember the arrows of sharp words which pierce the heart. How can, so Sati is asking, how can the sharp words of Daksha pierce the heart of Shiva, who is self-satisfied? No, Vishwanath is only asking. Since Shiva is the Supreme Lord, he is certainly self-satisfied. But because he has also related to Tamoguna, sometimes lamentation and illusion, attachment and hatred manifest in him, with his supreme powers not visible. Though Krishna is always self-satisfied, because of having prema, he also shows lamentation, illusion, attachment, hatred in relation to Yashoda, Baladev and the gopis, because of invisibility of his supreme powers. In Shiva, those moods arise from Tamogun and are filled with an experience of a shadow of grief. In Krishna, those moods arise from prema and are filled with an experience of highest bliss. Since prema is the ultimate essence of Chit Shakti, these moods cannot be restricted by the Lord's being self-satisfied. However, destruction of demons is an effect of Sattva Guna alone. Because of the mutual friction of the gunas, the sattva gun destroys tamas and rajas, just as light destroys darkness. In this way, Krishna destroys demons. Since he is Shuddha Sattva, though the effects of material Sattva are also present in him, in a sense that they are handled by him, they do not affect him. This has been explained in the first canto 1 to 23 and will be explained again at the beginning of 7th canto. So here he is clarifying and glorifying Krishna over. And here taking the point what we discussed earlier, here he is mentioning, no, that Gopis, Baldev, Yashoda he is doing, but not with the demons. Demons, it is different only. So it's clear, the touch makes the problem.
Correct.
Krishna is, that's how Swayam Bhagavan Krishna is.
Yes. So therefore nobody can be on that same level as Krishna. So Krishna's position is very special. So nobody can be on that platform. So even though one may be pure devotee, see, Lord Shiva is, what is his position? And then what to speak of jivas who are pure devotees. So definitely these things will be there as long as Srila Prabhupada ki jai, Granthra Srimad Bhagavatam ki jai, Samved Gaur Bhakta Vrinda ki jai. Thank you very much.
Guruji, one doubt possible?
What's that?
So, is it wrong to compare amongst pure devotees? Like for example, the tolerance capacity between Parikshit Maharaj, Prahlad Maharaj and Ambrish relatively. If we say that Parikshit Maharaj tolerance was one level, that he did not counter curse, Prahlad Maharaj prayed and Ambrish Maharaj gave his pious credits also.
My understanding is if the acharyas are making some comparison, we can repeat that. But on our own, I don't think so we have adhikar to make such comparisons and say that one is higher, other is low. If acharyas are doing that, that's fine.
Okay.
That's my understanding.
Thank you. Hare Krishna.
Okay, Hare Krishna. Thank you very much. Srila Prabhupada ki jai. So tomorrow we will continue our discussions on the 78th chapter. So tomorrow we'll try to finish the 78th and 79th also. So please, you can try to read and come. Pucha?
Hare Krishna. So next month, Hare Krishna, all devotees online as well as offline here. So next month we are fixing the date 11th, 12th and 13th. 10th will be the anniversary day for NVCC, Radha Bindanchan and Nityanand Theodorsi Trayodasi. No. 11th is Tuesday, February. Tuesday, Wednesday and Thursday, because Prabhuji will be, these classes will be given by Prabhuji, and on Friday Prabhuji will be leaving. So we'll be having class only for 3 days, and those classes will be for 4 hours, 10:30 to 2:30. So we are finalizing, means all of you please manage yourself, I would say.
Prabhu, we have other services
if
also.
possible, first week.
We'll give 15 minutes break in between.
No, 4 hours is difficult, Prabhu.
No.
We also have other services.
Yeah, earlier we had a good stamina of doing Bhakti Vedanta.
No, but now the
Bhakti Vaibhav.
service and services
6 hours we had
proportion
earlier.
also has increased, no?
First week, is it a possible?
What? No, that we cannot shift because we have already taken second week or fourth week we do basically.
Do fourth week, no?
Take vote, Baba. Take vote.
Fourth week.
Fourth week, you go ahead for fourth.
Second week is okay.
We can have 2 breaks for this 10:30 to 2:30. We can keep. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, online devotees. Offline all devotees are saying yes.
Can you repeat, Prabhuji?
Huh?
They can put on chat or something.
Hare Krishna, Prabhuji, please repeat the dates.
Dates is 11, 12, 13th of February, 10:30 to 2:30, Bhakti Vedanta classes. 3 days, 4 hours.
Okay.
This is second week. Yes.
Okay.
So anyway, we are losing I think 4 hours, 3 hours. So in 3 days, we are completing 12 hours. So, okay, Hare Krishna.
Online, क्या है response? अरे पूछो ना.
Yeah, then Hare Krishna. If devotees have any issue, you can please send in your chat.
No, we have concerns. That's why we are telling also.
सब लोग ready है प्रभु जी?
Last week is possible.
Last week is better. 4th week.
Okay, we go by democracy, majority vote.
Hare Krishna. So okay, we are fixing 2nd week of February, 11, 12. Hare Krishna.
This is by democracy vote.
Yes.
I'm okay for 4 hours, 5 hours, any amount. If there's Vamsi Prabhu is the teacher, I can remove time.